Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, in this video, I will explain to you about the software design description document. Okay, so I will explain all about the content that you have to write, you have to complete in this SDD document. Okay, so let's take a look on the table of content. Okay, so there are three chapters ataupun three topics that you have to discuss. The first one is the introduction, that is the document purpose, the product scope. Okay, and then you have to discuss the system overview, where you have to provide the context diagram, the diagram 0, the functional decomposition diagram, and also the operating environment. And number 3, you have to provide the data dictionary of DFD. That is the documenting the process, the entities, and also the data flow. Okay, so let's take a look on the first part, that is introduction, document purpose. Okay, so in the document purpose, you have to identify the purpose of your system. Okay, so please take a look at the example here. You may consider the following question and point to guide you to preparing the question. Okay, the first one, why are you preparing this document? So you have to explain in this document on why you are preparing this document. Okay, so we prepare this document to what? To explain the design of the system. Okay, so explain briefly about the current system before this project is implemented. You can refer to the SDP report. Okay, so you have explained briefly about the current system or the system that has been used before you develop the system. Okay, doesn't matter if there is no computerized system. Okay, if the organization that you do the system for, okay, still use the manual system, the paper-based system, okay, it is fine. Just explain how they do their work now. Okay, and then number 3, explain briefly the previous activities of your project, which is you have done your SDP, okay, and also your SRS. Okay, just explain that you have done the SDP, where the proposal is done and so on, and then you have completed your SRS, where the requirement of the system have been identified and you also have designed the requirement. Okay, the fourth thing that you have to explain is who will use this document. Okay, you are going to present this document to whom? Okay, first maybe you have to represent to the top management or the management, and also you have to present this document to your, most importantly, to your IT team. Okay, so most importantly, this document will be handled to your IT team, or the programmer, the database designer, the system designer. Alright. And what are the topics that covered in this document? Okay, so the topics that is covered is the product scope, the system overview, and also number 3 is data dictionary. Okay, so just explain lah. Okay, because it is in the first chapter, that is introduction, so you have to introduce your document. Okay, next is the product scope. Okay, so what would you write in the product scope? Okay, so after identify the user of the system, briefly explain in detail how the user will use the system. Okay, so basically in product scope, we discuss number 1, who will use. Okay, who will use the system. Okay, number 2, okay, how the user. Okay, how the user use the system. How ni, okay, you are going to explain everything. Okay, you have to explain how the user will use the system, okay, from the beginning until the end, okay. But you do not have to explain thoroughly or very deep, okay, because we can see it in the DFD later on. Okay, you just have to on what platform, okay, this is how the user will use lah. Okay, what platform will the user use? Okay, maybe you can say that, oh, this system can be used by using the web browser, okay, computer or web browser, and also the system will be provided in mobile version. So itu dah ada dua platform. So itu dah kata how the user will use lah. Okay, and number 3, okay, what to what extent? Okay, what extent ni payah sikit orang nak faham. Okay, to what extent the system can do? Okay, jadi kat sini you have to explain sistem ni boleh buat apa je. Okay, for example, the system can receive order, and then can it not receive payment, but it can record the payment details. Okay, it can record the payment details and can produce several reports. For example, monthly report, monthly revenue report, and so on. So itu adalah what extent lah. However, contohnya ada benda yang sistem tak boleh buat. For example, however, if the customer wants to make pre-order, for example, okay, wants to make pre-order, okay, the system cannot receive pre-order, pre-order lah, okay. The order that can be made through the system is only on the available item. Contohnya macam itulah. So kita kena beritahu lah what are the barrier ataupun what are the extend dia lah. Maknanya bukan extend, maksudnya apakah had dia, what are the limits of your system. So kat situ kita kena discuss dekat product scope. Okay, so saya rasa cukup lah 3 points, these 3 points to discuss the product scope. Okay, next, on the second chapter, okay, you have to draw the context diagram. Okay, ingat context diagram dia hanya ada satu proses, there is only one process, and the process number is 0, and the process name is the system name. Okay, ingatlah yang ni. Alright, and then how many external entity you have? Okay, kena samalah dengan DFD. Okay, dekat context diagram dan juga DFD, the numbers of entity and also the data flow must be the same. For example here, kalau dalam gambar ni, example student record system, sorry, kita ambil student lah. Student, okay, have 2 data flow. Okay, student has 2 data flow. The first one is submitted works, and then the other one is graded work. So ada 2 data flow kat situ. So in your DFD, there must be also 2 data flow for students. Okay, one go in and one go out. Alright, and then next you have to draw the diagram 0. Alamak, tak nampak pula gambar dia kat sini. Okay, so the diagram 0 adalah data flow diagram lah. Okay, meaning that you must have how many system. Okay, let's say not the system, the process. Okay, let's say you have 5 process altogether, then you have to number the process accordingly lah. Alright, so how to number the process? Okay, basically you just give the number based on what process comes first. Okay, janganlah login letak last kali. Okay, contohnya login there are 5 process altogether, and then you put login on the 5th process. Tu macam tak masuk akal lah. Alright, so you just give the number of the process accordingly. Okay, so first user have to log in, for example, then you put the login process as number 1 and then view apa benda ni, view product as process number 2. Okay, and then order ataupun place order, alright, as the process number 3, payment number 4 and so on, macam itulah. Alright, so you have to give the number of the process accordingly lah. Okay, next adalah functional decomposition diagram. Okay, functional decomposition diagram ni should be exactly similar to diagram 0, including process numbering and name. Okay, so functional decomposition diagram ni dia macam yang baru ni yang kita buat tu adalah, kalau dalam SRS tu dia panggil sebagai storyboard. Sedangkan dia bukan storyboard pun. Okey, tapi bila dia duduk dalam tu dia panggil storyboard. Duduk dalam ni dia panggil functional decomposition diagram. Okey, yang mana kalau dalam masa buat multimedia dulu, benda tu adalah sitemap lah. Alright, tengoklah kat sini. It starts from nama sistem tersebut. Okay, this is the name of the system, member service system. And then how many process that you have. Okay, number 1, contoh subscription subsystem. Number 2, promotion subsystem. Number 3, order. So, it depends on your how many process that you have. Okay, it depends on your system lah. Okay, so example, if you have 5 system altogether, starting from login up to produce report, for example, then you have kena tulis semualah kat sini. Okay, process number 1, number 2, number 3, and benda ni must be exactly the same as the DFD. Okay, data flow diagram ni, kalau data flow diagram ada 5 proses, then at the functional decomposition diagram must have 5 processes as well. Okay, so kalau lah misal kata proses tu ada sub dia pula. Okay, kat sini apa tujuan functional decomposition diagram ni? Okay, we want to look on the deeper side of the system, of the process, sorry. Okay, for example, kalau dekat DFD tadi, kita hanya letak je order subsystem. Okay, kita letak je proses tu namanya order. But what are the activities in order system? Okay, kita tak nyatakan pada DFD. But in FDD, we provide the information. Okay, process order transaction, generate order report. Maksudnya, in order proses tu tadi, so what are the sub process of the system, of the order process. So kita kena ceritalah kat sini. Okay, so kalau contohnya ni operation, tak nak operation lah, susah sangat. Subscription. Okay, untuk subscribe. Okay, untuk subscribe, kita tengok dekat subscription system. Okay, subscription module. Okay, kita tengok process subscription and then generate report. Okay, so kita kena nyatakan pula dalam subscription tu orang subscribe kita. Okay, apa proses yang kita boleh buat daripada proses subscription tu tadi. So, meaning that yang bawah-bawah ni adalah semuanya adalah subsystem, subsystem. Okay, kalau yang ni dia dah panggil subsystem dah. Ataupun senang kita panggil modul lah benda ni. Okay, modul ataupun proses. Tapi yang bawah-bawah ni adalah sub-proses. Alright. So, itu adalah functional decomposition diagram. Dia benda yang tak sama. FDD, DFD, ataupun diagram 0. Diagram 0 ni kita panggil dia juga data flow diagram. Kena ingatlah ni. Okay, diagram 0 is data flow diagram. Okay, so context diagram dia bermula daripada benda yang very general, very the bird's eye. Okay, kita tengok daripada atas je. Okay, kita tengok daripada surface. Okay, sistem ni. Okay, ada entity apa benda. Okay, then kita narrow down to each of the process. Okay, proses apa yang terlibat dalam tu. So, we narrow it down once again. Okay, for each process, what are the sub-process. So itu kepentingan dia lah. So kenapa nak kena buat benda ni? Because we are going to give this document to your programmer so that your programmer will program ataupun kepada designer lah. Okay, so that they will design, they will program according to what are the needs of the user. So sebab tu kita buat benda ni selepas requirement SRS. Okay, kita dah dapat requirement from the user. Kita dah tanya macam-macam user dekat SRS. Now is the time for us to develop. Ataupun is the time for us to design first and then develop. Okay. So kita perlu design based on SRS lah. Jangan SRS kata lain and then SDD buat lain pula. Alright. So now kita masuk kepada operating environment. Okay, kat sini you have to describe the environment in which the software will operate, including the hardware, okay, the operating system and also the software needed. Okay, so sekarang ni dekat sini, okay, example dah bagi dia ni. Mungkin sikit je lah ni, tak sampai setengah muka pun. Alright, you have to list down. Okay, minimum software requirement. Okay, nakkan kepada window berapa? Window 10. And then resolution set dia macam ni. Ataupun nak kena HD ke. Okay, kemudian hardware nak kena pakai. Apakah minimum requirement for hardware? Okay, nak pakai 2 core. RAM nak kena berapa gig? Okay, video nak kena ada video. Kalau perlu pada video lah. Kalau tak perlu, sistem kita tak pakai video pun. So, do not require video card lah. Okay, macam lampau lah pula. Tak pakai video pun sibuk nak letak video juga. Okay. Right. So, benda ni senaraikan je. What are your minimum requirement? Ni, make sure to include the minimum platform requirement for your system. Okay. And then number 3. Okay. Chapter number 3 is Data Dictionary of DFD. Okay. Hak ni ramai lah yang dulu-dulu lah punya cerita ni. Bila kita tak nombor ni, habis dia tinggal nombor-nombor ni. Dia biar je kat sini. Kita tak nak nombor-nombor ni. Okay. Kita nak benda ni. We want you to write what are the process number. Of course lah, akan ada lah process number 1. Okay. So, what are the name of or label of the process? Okay, for example, process number 1 is login. So, you just write lah kat sini, login. Okay, logik lah pula. Login. Okay. And then process description, tulislah sikit. User have to insert the ID and password. Orang tahu dah. Okay, bila login masuk ID password lah. Tapi ada je main tekan je. Tak payah nak buat ID dan password. Kan? Macam komputer awak tu. Kalau awak tak letak password. So, tekan je. Login lah tu. So, you have to tell the description lah. You have to write the description here. Okay. And then, for process number 2 pula. Tu lah number 2. Number 2. Ni mesti sama dekat DFD tadi. Okay. Mesti have to be similar. Bukan similar. Same. Okay. As DFD. Okay. Same as DFD. Okay. Same as DFD. Alright. So, number 2. Okay, dekat DFD, apakah proses number 2 kita? For example, view catalog. Macam ni je catalog. Lantaklah. Okay, so view catalog. So, dekat description, okay, user can view the product. For example, the product with the current stock availability and also the price. So, boleh cakap macam tu lah. Okay, then let's say you have 5 processes, then you have to list out up to 5 processes lah. Jangan buat 2 ni je. Okay, and then documenting the entity. So, how many entity do you have? Okay, let's say siapa yang buat klinik. Okay, you have doctors, you have staff, you have patient. So, meaning that you have 3 entities. External entity ni tadilah. Alright. Or, maybe you are using the outside ataupun other people's system as your feeder. Contohnya, kita nak dapatkan data daripada sistem yang lain. Example, kalau siapa-siapa yang dekat hospital ke buat data sistem pasal klinik. Okay, maybe you need to access data from MySejahtera. So meaning that you have 4 external entities. First is MySejahtera system. It's also your external entities. Okay, and then the doctors, the staff and also the patients. So macam itulah. So tengoklah how many entities do you have. Okay, so kalau 3, you have to provide 3, all of them. If you have 2, then 2 lah. If you have 4, then 4. Okay, so entity name, bagilah nama. Apa nama entity name? Let's say doctor. Okay, alternate name, doc, for example. Description, beritahulah. The doctor is the medical officer that work during the visits of patient and so on. Macam itulah. Okay, input data flow. Okay, apakah input yang diberi oleh doktor ni? Okay, what are the data that are considered as the inputs that the doctor give? Okay, jangan kata tak tahu. Dah ada DFD tadi, meaning that you know what data that the doctor have to provide to the system. Okay, what are the inputs that is provided by the doctor? So rujuk kepada DFD tu tadi. For example, doktor bagi doktor bagi disease description, for example. Okay, so itu adalah input dia, disease description ataupun illness description, whatever lah. Okay, dia buat dia punya apa kita panggil tu, hasil kajian ni lah. Lepas dia examine patient tu, okay. And then apa hasil dia, apa dapatan dia. Okay, dia dapati kawan ni kena denggi lah, apa benda semua. So dia tulis lah kat situ kan. So that is the input from the doctor. Okay, output pula, apakah output yang diberi oleh sistem kepada doktor ni? Okay, maybe the history of the patient, the patient's history. Okay, patient history data, itu adalah output data kepada doktor. So senaraikan semua. Kalau ada 5, bolehlah 5 sini, koma, 5. Alright, itu entities. Okay, kemudian data flow. Data flow ni akan jadi banyak sikit lah. Okay, akan jadi banyak because depends on your how many data flow that you have. Okay, basically kalau lah contohnya kalau atas satu orang, satu entity ada 5 data flow. So ada 3 entity, meaning that you have 5 data flows altogether. 15. You have 15 data flows altogether. So bagi tahu penama dia, jangan tulis nombor ni. Yang ni bagi tahu alternate name, okay, and also the description. Apa data tu berkenaan dengan apa sebenarnya? Okay, describe the data. Okay, example, patient history data. Okay, description dia adalah the data about the disease or illness that have been recorded by the doctor from the patient's previous visit. Macam tu. So, itu adalah description of patient history data. So, kalau yang menjual, saya bagi tadi dah saya bagi contoh yang jual-jual kan. So, yang ni pula saya bagi contoh untuk klinik. So, adil lah sentuh semua benda. Alright, apa lagi nak kena tulis kat sini? Okay, origin. Okay, origin maksudnya data flow ni berasal daripada siapa? Okay, kalau dia berasal daripada entity, dan tulislah nama entity tu. Okay, entity name. Or maybe the origin of the data is from the database. So tulislah nama origin ni adalah database. Okay, destination nak hantar ke siapa? Okay, nak hantar ke siapa? Kalau biasanya from database to entity lah. Okay, kalau daripada entity, normally it gives to database. Okay, the destination is the database. Tapi tengoklah macam mana. Kod lah destination dia, satu dekat database, satu lagi nak beritahu orang lain, nak beritahu entity lain pun possible juga. Okay, volume and frequency. Okay, kat sini maksudnya how much data, volume kan, how much. Okey, maknanya sekali dia hantar data tu berapa banyak. Kalau misal kata order. Okey, order. So how much data of order yang awak nak kena hantar dalam satu masa. Okay, maybe beli banyak barang tetapi order tu atas satu order je. So it means that the volume is 1. Frequency dia berapa kali nak kena data tu kena berjalan. Okay, data tu nak kena berjalan berapa kali. That is the frequency. Okay, 2 kali ke, sekali ke nak kena berjalan. Okay, maknanya atas satu-satu data flow lah. Bukannya data flow yang beza-beza atas satu-satu data flow sahaja. Okey, so teruskanlah sehinggalah awak ada berapa semua awak cover data flow yang ada tu lah. Alright, so bila dah awak habis dah data flow tu, maka habislah awak punya SDD ni, System Data Design. Okey, so hopefully awak boleh buatlah yang ni. Yang ni dia dah makin teknikal, dia dah kurang goreng-goreng ayat apa benda semua. Software design description, sorry. Dia dah kurang dah ayat nak kena goreng. So banyak benda yang nak kena lukis, yang nak kena senaraikan je. Alright, so hopefully boleh buatlah. Jangan tangguh-tangguh kerja ni, buat je terus. Nanti mungkin saya bagi masa selama 2 minggu jugalah. 2 ataupun 3 minggu untuk siapkan benda ni. Sebab kita pun dah masuk pada minggu yang ke-9. So, we have to do it as soon as possible lah. Alright. So, hopefully, kita jumpalah minggu depan insyaAllah. So, Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.